Rami X back in our video because I'll enjoy today's video. If you are new here, please consider smashing that subscribe button and that like button, especially if this isn't your first rodeo. Check out my second channel down below where I also make what ifs. I would also be interested in seeing some of your comments and maybe some what if suggestions that I can do in the future. Also, sorry for any unintentional background noise. I'm just kind of pressed in a situation where I'm not really able to be in a more calm area, if you will, so there might be unintentional background noises, but I just felt as if I needed to upload and needed to continue my every other day upload schedule. And with that being said, we can now get into the recap. So in the last part, we ended off with Sasuke versus Naruto. We didn't completely finish this fight, but we kind of just got Naruto to explain to Sasuke the Dojutsu's abilities, not his own, but the Sharingan's abilities, from what he knows from Kakashi, basically explaining that the Sharingan has precog and things of the sorts, things that we as viewers already know, but Sasuke at this point does not know the abilities of the Sharingan, so it's very intriguing to him, especially because he doesn't know of these things. So he's just very surprised, and he's generally kind of amazed that Naruto knew so much about his clan. But with that out of the way, I guess we can now begin. Also, this is a much stronger Naruto, and I'm just going to put this out there. Naruto is much stronger than Sasuke. He's trained with Kakashi. He has a godly Dojutsu, and so I don't see any way that, Sasuke's pulling the dub, but, well, we can get into the video now. Naruto and Sasuke would stare each other down as a new spark would ignite their fight, and they would both feel an accumulation of energy, almost as if they had both been healed. But, of course, they weren't actually healed. They just kind of felt energized, rejuvenated, if you will. Sasuke would then carry a kunai in his hand as he would rush towards Naruto. Naruto would mimic Sasuke, doing the same as they would rush towards one another. Naruto would then clash with Sasuke, telling Sasuke that if this is all the force that he can muster, then he won't be much of a challenge. Sasuke would shake his head as he would tell Naruto that he was just testing the waters a little bit, as he would jump back. Sorry if my voice is a little, I guess you could say, energetic today. I'm just feeling like I'm trying to push that vibe in my videos, and I'm kind of just trying to, I don't know, but tell me if you guys like it. Anyhow, Naruto would then tell Sasuke this, as he would say that he's just testing the waters. Jumping back and now grabbing another kunai, as Sasuke would now have two kunais in his hand, and Naruto would have one. Sasuke would then rush towards Naruto again, as he would smirk, doing a backflip before actually making contact with Naruto and throwing both kunai to the ground. Naruto, you said that I would be able to read your movements, didn't you? Yeah, what about it? Well, let's test that theory. After these kunai were fired towards Naruto, they would immediately engage in hand-to-hand combat, as Sasuke had somehow been winning the fight. It was almost unusual to Naruto, who had thought of himself almost as a god and things of the sort. So even though he had so much respect to the Sharingan, he was pretty surprised, and so he should, that somebody like Sasuke, a mere boy the same age as him, had been able to do so much. But let me get this out there. If this was just some normal 8-year-old Sasuke, 9-year-old Sasuke, he wouldn't be able to do this, but it's because Naruto forced that Sharingan out of him. It's because Naruto made his Uchiha blood boil, and I hope you guys can understand that. I'm not just, wanking Sasuke so that he can compete with Naruto here. I think it's just general, like you would say, power skill, or something like that, right? Naruto and Sasuke would then continue their skirmish, as Sasuke had started to carry the fight, slamming Naruto in the ground, who would quickly do a backflip. Naruto would then have created distance between him and Sasuke, as he would put together 16 hand signs, firing off a wind bullet. Naruto would then smirk as he would tell Sasuke that he won't let him get the chance, as he would then put two hand signs together, multi-shadow clone Jutsu. Sasuke would realize that these clones were not illusions, because if what Naruto said about the Sharingan was true, then he would be able to see through the shadow clones, but he could not. Meaning that Naruto had used the actual shadow clone jutsu, and so many. You see, Naruto had summoned about 25 shadow clones. This is not at all the max amount of shadow clones that Naruto can use, but you guys get the point. Sasuke was completely outstanded by this, and he was very amazed, but he needed to keep his pride in check. He needed to keep his composure. So he kind of just brushed it off as he would continue with his, I guess you'd say, smirk. Naruto would then laugh as he would tell Sasuke that he should watch out. Behind Sasuke would be a wind bullet. This was the wind bullet that Naruto had fired off earlier, but it had seemed like it had been different than the normal wind bullet that we see in Naruto's universe. Or, I guess you could say, that we see in the Naruto show. This wind bullet had somehow circled around Sasuke and was now behind him. Naruto would then tell his clones to charge, as Sasuke was put into a sticky situation where he wasn't really able to escape, and he wasn't really in the best of spots, especially for himself. He was just kind of getting pressed, is what I'm trying to say. Sasuke would then look around himself as he would try to slide through the in-between spots, because they were coming at him from the front and the back, so he kind of just decided to run and take the side, right? Because Sasuke's kind of smart. But, unfortunately for him, Naruto was smart enough to know that Sasuke would take this route, as he had left one shadow clone on each side, left and right, in the case that Sasuke had been smart enough to come up with the idea and just was very in tune with his surroundings. This shadow clone would then fight Sasuke, who would basically easily dismantle it, as it's basically a 25th of Naruto's power. Nothing too special, nothing too little, but nothing Sasuke can't handle. Naruto would then have enough time to basically get himself and his shadow clones over to Sasuke, as Sasuke took a little too long defeating his clone, about 20 seconds to be more exact, and as such, Naruto was able to get there in a flash, as he would immediately send Sasuke flying into the air. Naruto would then make a ladder with all of his clones, as he would slam his clone ladder into Sasuke, forcing Sasuke into the ground. Sasuke would then pass out, going unconscious, as Naruto would smile, telling Sasuke that he did very well, and that he was very surprised at how strong Sasuke was, even for the likes of Uchiha, and even for the likes of somebody who, well, is from the Leaf Village, as the Leaf Village is said to be one of the strongest villages, not only because of their nine tails, but their aggressiveness, similar to the Cloud Village. They're in the first to second range, and they have the strongest Kage, so you get the point. Naruto would then carry Sasuke back to the academy, as he would tell Iruka, who was kind of just staying there late, that Sasuke had been injured in a fight. He didn't tell Iruka that he had beat Sasuke, as he thought that that would do too much to Sasuke's pride, and that it would damage it, and he really didn't want to do that to Sasuke. Somebody who he, at this point, even though it's not really, I guess you'd say, certain, he considered Sasuke to be his friend in some way or another, so it was kind of, I guess you could say, something that he could do for his friend. Naruto would then leave going home, as Iruka would take care of Sasuke for the night. Sasuke would then wake up, as he would immediately go back to where he stays. It's not really shown where Sasuke stays, but we'll assume he just lives in the Uchiha hideout, or has an apartment like Naruto. We're gonna go with option B. He has an apartment like Naruto, so he would go back to his apartment, and so would Naruto. Naruto would then just chill and fall asleep, as Sasuke would do the same, thinking about why Naruto was so strong, and thinking about everything Naruto had said to him. This kept Naruto awake, and this also kept Sasuke awake. You see, Naruto was kind of also thinking of his battle, but in a different light. He was thinking of how much potential the Sharingan had, whereas Sasuke was thinking about how strong he could be with the Sharingan. So, Sasuke would go out, as he was kind of, I guess you would say, a good word for it would be, you know, not tired. So he would just go out and train a little bit, trying to master his Sharingan, as by the end of the day, he was too tired to even move, as he had managed to activate his Sharingan consciously, and without the need of words or actions and things of the sort that could make him get riled up and things like that. So he was pretty happy and passed out or fell asleep with a smile on his face. We now have a time skip of 4 to 3.8 years. And in these 4 years, Naruto's gonna get a hell of a lot stronger with Sasuke. They're both gonna grow together, and Sasuke at this point is gonna have the 2 and 3 Tomoe. Naruto is gonna have a much better mastery over his godly Dojutsu. So in the next part, we're gonna be able to get into all of those abilities. Maybe even in this part if we get to it, but we'll just have to see. Not only that, But Naruto had figured out that he has a Nine Tails within him that actually is able to cooperate with him. Because he does know that he has the Nine Tails, but he kind of always just assumed that the Nine Tails was always going to be mean to him and just kind of not give him his chakra because of how the Nine Tails is depicted. Not saying that Naruto's wrong, not in the slightest, but, you know, the Nine Tails is going to come through at times, and Naruto had realized that while training with Kakashi. That when Naruto pushes himself to his utmost limit, maybe even a bit on the dying side, that the Nine Tails kind of comes in and gives him his chakra so that Naruto can keep on fighting, which is a really good way for Naruto to get stronger, and it's made him far surpass his original counterpart and far surpass really most Jonin and things of the sort. I'd really only say he's below maybe like Kakashi, Asuma. He's above Kurenai, and yeah, you get the point. Like he's a beast right now. But basically the teams are kind of gonna go the same. I decided that I'm gonna still make Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura all be on the same team. This is for the sole fact that of teamwork. You see, there's exceptions that can be made in the ninja world for specific teams, right? Say, there was a team of all Dojutsu wielders. Neji may be put on that team because he has the Byakugan. Naruto is the Sasuke is the Sharingan, excuse me. Or pardon me. And Naruto has his godly Dojutsu, right? So they might all be put on the same team for military purposes. It's the same reason why at one point there was always a healer on your team, as that was the case for Kakashi, Rin, and Obito. Rin was their healer, and most teams had one, because that was just how it worked, and that was a military advancement, especially because they were in war, and injuries were very common. Though it's kind of shown that, I guess you could say, testament that having a healer on your team, sorry for the rambling, really helped out and kind of stayed to this day. Anyhow, so I'm going to put them on the same team due to their teamwork. Basically, Naruto and Sasuke are going to request to be put on the same team, and they're going to basically lay out all the facts and say that they've been on the same team, or basically have been training together for years now, 4 years, and, like, Hiruzen can't really complain, like, you know? And they have to have a female, so that female's going to be Sakura, and well, she's going to be a healer, but not yet. But I am going to change a thing. She's going to be a bit of a healer, right? I know that just kind of contradicted myself, but scratch that. She's going to be a healer, but she's not going to be too skilled. She's going to know, like, the basic stuff, like stuff Kakashi would probably know. And Kakashi's not really, like, a big healer, as most of us know. Anyhow, we would now get into the formation of Team 7, as the introductions would basically go the same, with Naruto and Sasuke both adding that they both love training together, and love sparring together, and love just pushing past their limits, and going above and beyond. Plus ultra, if you will. And Sakura would just say the same things in canon, talking about Sasuke, and, you know, her love interest in Sasuke, you get the point. And we can now have the bell test. This bell test is going to go extremely quickly. Naruto, knowing Kakashi and spending more than 4 years with him, as Sasuke kind of trained with Naruto with Kakashi, but mostly just with Naruto, but basically training with Kakashi for almost 5 years, and just knowing him, would know that teamwork is the way that you pass the bell test. And so, he would ask Sakura to help him, and Sasuke. Sakura would shake her head, telling Naruto that he will not get her help, and only Sasuke can get her help. So, Sasuke, knowing that Sakura would accept, would tell Sakura that he'd be very happy if Sakura were to help him and Naruto fight against Kakashi, who was a Jonin, somebody very strong. And Sakura would see this as the testament to their love, the extreme trial, and she would comply, immediately going to fight with them against Kakashi, which would just kind of basically result in a victory. It would result in a victory for Team 7, because they used teamwork, and it would just kind of immediately give them that win. Though Kakashi would like to see his team's wits, because just working together does not mean that you pass the bell test. You actually have to fight Kakashi, and he has to see that you have promise. Not necessarily, but that's how this is going to work in this timeline, of course. Anyhow, Kakashi's clearly going to see that Naruto and Sasuke are very powerful, and he would just tell Sakura that she needs to work on her skills if she ever wants to fight alongside Naruto and Sasuke, especially on even footing, because, well, that just might not work. Especially in her shoes, because as he could see, Sasuke and Naruto were doing all the assaults. They were pushing Kakashi, and they were actually fighting him using jutsu, etc. All Sakura did was use the clone jutsu and throw kunai. A mere illusion trick from the academy. Kakashi was utterly disappointed in his student, but either way, they would all pass. The next day, they would do some D-rank missions, as they would all have a good night's rest, and they would kind of just do D-rank missions for a few weeks. Eventually, Naruto would get bored of them, and he'd be like, I'm kind of bored. Sasuke would agree, because they knew that they were much stronger than, well, D-rank missions. Like, saving cats, cutting wood. It just wasn't the right path for them. They knew they needed something bigger. And if a C-rank mission meant leaving the village, well then, that's experience on the battlefield that they need and they want. Especially as Genin, and it would kind of give them some bragging rights amongst the other Genin who may or may not have been on C-rank missions already themselves. So, Hiruzen, just like in canon, would let them go on this C-rank mission, excuse me, and so they would just go to the land of waves with Tazuna. Naruto had immediately picked up on Tazuna being a little suspect, but he didn't really mind it, as it was what it was. Tazuna's somebody from another land. Maybe he's just kind of scared and wants to be a little secretive because of, belief, and he's just kind of a foreigner. They're kind of foreigners coming to his town, and stuff could go wrong. But Naruto didn't really see this as Tazuna hiding the fact that, well, there's enemy ninja on this mission. But Naruto just saw it as Tazuna being a little secretive, as he kind of should. Anyhow, enough of that. We shall now arrive on the bridge. Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura all start building the bridge with Tazuna. Naruto's shadow clones really speed up the bridge's build as 5 days would pass. Haku and Zabuza would now show up with one extra person. This person will be shown later on in this video, but for now you won't really know who this person is, because he's just gonna run into the woods and just kind of sit there stationary for a little bit, but he'll get his screen time. Zabuza and Haku then declare that they need Tazuna's head for Gato. Naruto would ask who Gato is, as Kakashi would explain that Gato is a mob boss, and Tazuna would then further add on that Gato is somebody who has been terrorizing their people. Kakashi would immediately now know that Tazuna has been hiding many things from Team 7. Crucial information that could have been the decision between life or death, especially if his team was under-leveled, but, well, they're not. They're over-leveled for this mission, especially Naruto and Sasuke, not really Sakura. She's just a healer right now, and she's not even, that great of one, but, she has potential to get stronger. We'll see how that goes. But, basically, Kakashi would just let it slide, and would tell Tazuna that they may have to return back to their village for some backup, and kind of just ask for some backup, because, well, that's just how it was. They needed some help. So, they would call for backup in this timeline. Basically, they're going to be calling Asuma's team, which, if I'm not mistaken, is Team 10. If it's not, excuse me, I'm very sorry. But basically, they would call Asuma's team in, and they would, start coming towards the land of waves, while Naruto and Sasuke, as well as Kakashi, would start to fight Zabuza and Haku. Not only that, but Sakura would start to protect Tazuna, and would kind of just heal Tazuna up in case she had to go against anybody, as there was a possibility that Zabuza or Haku would attack her, and Tazuna would have to run, and because he was building the bridge, he was kind of tired out and things of the sort, so he would just, be healed by Sakura. And then, with that being said, Sakura would then protect Tazuna as the events of the canon would unfold. Haku would use his famous ice mirrors on Naruto and Sasuke, who would be bombarded by his attacks every right, left, and center turn that they made, being sliced basically by Haku, who showed a little bit of pity to them. But eventually, they would succumb to their injuries. Not Naruto specifically, but Sasuke. Sasuke would sacrifice himself for Naruto, as to Naruto it had looked like Sasuke had just died. This did much more, and I mean much more, to Naruto than it did in canon. This would force out the three tails on Naruto. Naruto had already had a decent amount of control over base Kyuubi chakra, but nowhere near even two tails or one tails, let alone three tails. He went berserk. He was angry. The person he had known for 4 years, trained with, he had put his blood, sweat, tears, and they had worked together for years together. He had just, well, to Naruto, died. So he was very angry and would attack Haku fiercely, not stopping even for a second. Haku would then realize how strong Naruto was and also wondered where this monstrous chakra came from. Was this merely bloodlust? Haku thought to himself. But he didn't have any time for conclusions or assumptions, as Naruto kept pounding into Haku and just slamming him around like a ragtag doll, right? Or like a doll, right? And Haku eventually realized that he was outmatched, as he would then throw kunai, not senbon, out and towards the forest. This kunai would hit a pillar, which would then signal the unknown figure to come out. This unknown figure was none other than Orochimaru, one of 3 of the legendary Sani, a group of ninja notorious in the 3rd Great Ninja War. Point is, this figure was Orochimaru. I hope that was a good introduction to Orochimaru being here. And I'll explain why he's here in the first place. You see, Haku and Zabuza have made contracts with Orochimaru, if you will. By that I mean they have accepted his curse mark and have survived, which means that the curse mark's successful rate has increased by like 2%. Anyhow. But then again, would you consider Zabuza normal? Like, he's known as the Demon of the Mist. Either way, no sidetracking. Orochimaru basically found Zabuza and Haku while they were injured on a mission and helped them. You see, I'm just adding this in canon so that this makes a lot more sense and just ties right into the story, if that makes sense. And I just don't want it to be a plot hole in this What If. So they're going to be on a mission, get wounded, and these are some pretty like good Anbu and Jonin that they're fighting. And Orochimaru would step in, telling them that if he helps them, they will be awarded with the curse mark, and they will forever be, I guess you could say, loyal to Orochimaru. And, well, they would accept. It was the choice between life and death. And so, they would get curse marks after the fight, meaning that they all now have curse marks, which is going to make the fight with Kakashi a little bit more dangerous, and the fight with Haku a little bit more dangerous. But, we'll get into that later. Orochimaru would quickly observe the fight, as he would rather not fight yet. He would rather see some fish struggling to catch bait, if you will. He would rather see the fight before actually going into the fight himself, unless Haku and Zabuza, or Haku or Zabuza, get pretty injured to where it's kind of necessary for Orochimaru to step in, but that's not the case, at least not yet. Naruto would then continue his rampage, as he doesn't see Orochimaru come out, but he does feel a sense of bloodlust. Naruto would then continue to slap around Haku, as he would decide to finish it off. Naruto would then extend his arms backwards, and then send them flying into Haku's mask, or face, if you will. This would cause Haku's mask to, upon impact, shatter into about 200 pieces of clay and things of the sort, causing Haku to now drop his jaw at how strong Naruto was. Haku would then fall to the ground, as he would then grab his head. Naruto. That is your name, is it not? Yeah, what's it to you? Well, you were formidable, I must tell you that. But now I am unable to control myself, and I will beat you. for Lord Orochimaru and Zabuza. The curse mark would then start to evolve, if you will, and just start to accumulate on Haku's head. He had entered curse mark stage 1. So his power increased. Naruto felt this increase as he wasted no time, telling Haku that if he can no longer control himself, then he'll force Haku to control himself. By that he basically means that he's gonna break Haku out of whatever trance he is in, but basically what Haku is saying is that he gets so riled up, so bloodlusted, that he can barely control his curse mark. And a lot of the time he uses his curse mark to protect Zabuza, so he uses it quite a lot. Even if what's going to hurt Zabuza isn't even that fatal and won't hurt him too much, he's always using it. Also, Zabuza and Haku do not and have not already fought Naruto, so this is a first time encounter, contrary to the canon. Anyhow, Naruto would then be surprised at the massive gain, as he would then slam his fist right into Haku. Personally, I do not think Haku, who is about Jonin level, Kage level, low Kage to mid Kage level, since Zabuza had fought against the third Mizukage, I do not think that Haku is, winning this fight. It's Three Tails Naruto, who already at this point is also Jonin level, low Kage level, and if you're really stretching it, he was already there in the canon. With proper scaling, you can easily do that. Not to get all scaling on you guys, sorry for that, but point is, if you want to argue it in the comments you can, but Naruto is easily slapping Haku even with his curse mark. Also, he only has stage 1 as of now because his small body or small frame can't really handle it. The only reason why Orochimaru, to my knowledge, gave Sasuke all the stages of the curse mark was because Sasuke was a prime subject, though Orochimaru has thought of making Haku a vessel sometime. So he's kind of just, biding his time and just waiting for Haku to get stronger so that he can enter Haku and just kind of use it as a reserve host while he waits for Sasuke to flourish into a beautiful ninja. And not like that. Just a, strong ninja. Anyhow. I think I'm going to end it here with Orochimaru kind of stepping in before Naruto could end Haku in his rage, because Orochimaru does think of Haku as a valuable asset. And Asuma has also arrived at this point, so it's kind of going to be an interesting situation. But that's how we're going to end this episode or part, whatever you want to call it. I go with part. But hope you guys all enjoyed. Make sure to like this video to a friend, like what it is, or just stay and make content in general. Comment down below your thoughts and feelings about the video. I'd really like it if you guys commented down some what if suggestions. That would be amazing. And maybe even your thoughts and feelings about the video. And not only that, but subscribe to my second channel where I also make what ifs. I'm about to hit 500 subs on that channel, so I'm so grateful for that. Thank you. And we just hit 8,000 subscribers, so thank you all. And with that being said, Rami X, stop Buddha Sensei and Naruto Uchiha 12. They are bad people on the platform. Rami XO.